Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Liberian Bitcoin Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Forum. And today we have a very special topic today, right? We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. In the past 3 videos we have posted, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. We talked about the economy, we talked about money, we talked about investment, and we talked about the importance of investment, especially in an inflationary system like we are currently, right? The system is inflationary. That means when you save money, technically, it's okay to save money, but if you save money for a prolonged period of time, you're actually losing value on your money. And investment is a way to actually hedge against inflation. So um, this is an investment channel, and let's dive into Bitcoin. Now, the question is, what is Bitcoin? So a lot of you have heard so much about Bitcoin over the past few years. I'm pretty sure you have read articles about Bitcoin, you've seen Bitcoin on the news, and you've probably heard a friend talk about it, and you still haven't figured out what is Bitcoin. Now, when you think about Bitcoin, think about a digital instrument that is constructed on what we call the blockchain, right? And in other videos, I will talk a lot about the blockchain. I will talk about cryptocurrencies, but let's focus this video on just Bitcoin. Now, it's a digital asset or instrument that is built on the blockchain. Now, the question is, what makes Bitcoin even significant, right? Right, that's a really good question, because a lot of people will ask the question, we already have digital currency. My money in my account is digital. Now, what's so special about Bitcoin? Why are we talking about digital currency when we have everything so far is somehow digital? Now, prior to the invention of Bitcoin, there was something very impossible to do. And the invention of Bitcoin actually solved this computer science problem. And this is a massive problem back then, right? So now in 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto wrote a white paper basically expressing how he solved this problem. And computer scientists all over the world were shocked. So I'm guessing you're asking currently, what is the problem? Now, in computer science, there was a problem called the double spending problem. And the double spending problem makes it really difficult for digital asset or digital instrument to not be replicated. So prior to the invention of Bitcoin, everything digital, all digital instrument or digital asset or any sort of like digital material could be replicated, could be duplicated, right? And if you understand some of the properties of money, you'll realize that money is something that should not be duplicated, right? If it's duplicated, if it's copied, it kind of loses its value, because there's just going to be a excess amount of that money that's created, and that's going to cause inflation. So money should be earned. It should be something that people actually express labor and gets in return, right? So it shouldn't be as easy as someone just copying. But prior to Bitcoin, it was easy to do that. Now the double spending problem was solved by Bitcoin. For the first time in history, it's possible to send a digital asset to another person across the world without that asset being duplicated. Or the sender who's actually sending that asset, after initiating that transaction, isn't in charge of that asset anymore. That is terrific. So it's sort of like going to the store and paying for something. Obviously, if you buy a bag of chips, the chips now is yours, but the money in exchange of that chip goes to the vendor. Think about it that way. Another way to think about Bitcoin, and specifically the blockchain, because Bitcoin is actually built on the blockchain. So the blockchain is the actual technology that basically validates the authenticity of a Bitcoin. So a way to think about it would be the internet and email address, right? So emails are built on the internet. Without the internet, you can't really send emails back and forth. So without blockchain, you can't really authenticate Bitcoin. You can't move it around that much because blockchain is what validates that transaction. So the blockchain is like the ledger. That's where all of the transactions are written and they are kept track of, and it validates the DNA of the Bitcoin. So it makes it impossible for it to be replicated or duplicated. So with that technology, there can be so many things built on it. And one thing you have to understand too, what makes Bitcoin really special is Bitcoin is actually programmable. You can program a Bitcoin to represent a real life asset in the world. And the movement of that asset, the movement of that Bitcoin, basically validates the movement of ownership of that asset to another person. So think about real estate, right? If I have a house and that house is programmed, it's tokenized on the blockchain. So a representation of that house is a fraction of Satoshi, which is a piece of Bitcoin, right? The smallest piece of Bitcoin. Now, whenever I send that Satoshi to somebody else, that Satoshi is so programmable, it has all the deed and all the legal records of that property. So if I move that, if I send that to somebody else's wallet, I have relinquished my ownership of that property to that person. Now, this is the technology. This is groundbreaking, and this is the technology that's going to change the world. And one of the reasons why it's so significant because it has the ability to eliminate the middleman and keep the transaction between the two parties that are transacting. So that's just the basic for the definition of Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is important. And in future videos, we'll tap more into details. Thank you so much for coming. I encourage you to be a part of this community. We're trying to build an investment community that can foster education and keep all of us educated when it comes to blockchain or any sort of technology. Imagine we use Uber every day, we use Netflix, we use Facebook. Imagine being a part of it, right? So the blockchain is sort of like the platform, the technology, and like the internet was. Now think about website, newspaper, e-commerce, social media, everything is built on that internet. So imagine what can be built on the blockchain in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now. So I want you to be a part of this technology. That's why we're doing this presentation regularly and we're trying to construct this community. So follow us on Facebook, the Liberian Bitcoin Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Forum. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our videos also. The algorithms actually send out the videos to a lot of people when you like it. So we are very excited to have you a part of this and have you joining us in building this community. And we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Have a nice day. Bye.